It's been almost a year since I fell in love and then got my heart absolutely shattered. Not by a man, surprisingly, but by Carley Fortune, the author.
Bruh.
About 11 months ago now, I read Every Summer After and I absolutely loved it. That was until the third act conflict ruined everything.
Pissed off. Pissed.
That conflict was so personally traumatizing to me that it tanked the rating. So today I'm doing something brave. I'm giving Carley Fortune a second chance to see if she can win me back, or to determine if we're actually done forever. So join me this week as I read One Golden Summer by Carley Fortune. Tell me why I'm tearing up. Hi, I'm super emotional. Okay, anyways, I must be about to start my period because I started reading this book this morning in my bed and I literally started crying.
I look so goofy. I just know I'm already crying. Like, what the hell? Why am I crying?
Yeah, an actual tear came out. And it was literally a happy moment in the book. I'm just an emotional girl. As you can tell, I'm already caring about these characters and I'm only 12% in, mind you. So this is a little bit psychotic of me, but let me give you guys an update about the book so that you can get on board. We're following a photographer named Alice, and Alice spent one summer when she was 17 at a lake in Barry's Bay where she captured a photo of 3 teens in a yellow speedboat, and she basically wanted to join them. She was longing to be a young kid enjoying her time on the lake, but she was super shy, and so she didn't actually ever go and approach those kids. And now flash forward like 2 decades, her grandma actually falls and breaks her hip. So her grandma starts getting pretty depressed about not being able to go on adventure. So Alice decides that her and her grandmother should go back to Barry's Bay where she spent that summer and took that picture so that she can just have a relaxing summer at the lake with her grandma. But who does Alice meet there other than Charlie, who is the boy in the boat and also the man that renovates the house that they're staying at? So as you can probably guess, things are gonna happen. It's kind of funny already because Charlie and Alice are very, very different. Alice is somebody who's pretty reserved and keeps to herself. She actually likes being behind the camera. And Charlie is the absolute opposite. He's a man that's so confident, he's almost cocky. He knows he's attractive and he's absolutely a flirt. And I fear that's my type. Like, I fear that's my type. I love a man that thinks he's the main character. And a lot of people actually find that type repulsive. So if you don't like a cocky male main character, you probably will not like this book. And it's not that he's obnoxious in any way. It's just that he knows he's hot. Like, he knows he's hot and he's gonna flirt. He's going to flirt. So he's already been flirting with her and they've literally only met on the phone, but I'm eating it up. And I cried in chapter 5 because, as we've established, Alice is somebody that's very meticulous. She's someone that's constantly organized. She always has a to-do list. And I was having trouble pinpointing why that was like getting under my skin at the beginning. And I literally think it's because I'm her. I see traits that I don't really like about myself in her. I've noticed that I have a lot of trouble getting out of my comfort zone and just experiencing life and being spontaneous and learning that it's okay to put down the to-do list, to not feel like you constantly have to be working and instead to enjoy the time that you have. And I absolutely think Charlie is going to be able to balance Alice out in this regard. And I cannot wait to see her actually have a fun summer and hopefully a fun rest of her life, because I definitely think that she's someone that deserves that. In the book, we're already learning about how much Alice takes care of the people around her. She has a couple siblings that she's invited to the lake house already. She's taking care of her grandma because she has that hip injury. And it seems like she almost spreads herself so thin that she has no energy left to take care of herself. So I am really, really interested how Charlie and Alice's relationship is going to progress. As I just said, I cried this morning reading it, which is actually crazy, but it was because, as I told you guys, Alice loves keeping a list of to-dos. And so when she found out that Charlie is the guy that's kind of renovating the house for them to move into, she sent him a list of all the things that she wanted to be fixed. And she was nice about it, of course, but he basically got this list over the phone and was like, what about how are you? Like, do you even want to talk cordially? He was kind of thrown off by her just wanting to get directly to the point. But when she gets to the beach house, he actually wrote her a detailed list about everything that he did in the house. And he basically said, like, because I know you like lists. And as an example, one of the things that he did was rearrange all the furniture in the house to make pathways big enough for her grandma to be able to walk her walker through them. He also did things like securing down the rugs and putting all the games in an area that's accessible. He rearranged the pantry so that everyday food items could be easily grabbed by her grandma. So it was just a super considerate, very, very, very thoughtful gesture. And especially that he organized it into a list because he knows that's how she is and that's what she would like to have seen. And then at the end of the list was him putting a bullet point that says, how impressed are you right now? Text me a picture of your face. And that probably sounds so silly, but after kind of establishing how Charlie is, like his basic rapport, that just adds so much because he's such a little flirt. Like he's such a flirt. And I have a feeling he's going to be one of my top MMCs after this book. As you guys know, every book for me is basically a roller coaster. It's rare that I like a book all the way through 100% of the time. So we'll see what happens with this book, but I'm super excited to keep reading. I'll update you guys as soon as I can. Bye! I'm loving this! The tension, the yearning, the buildup. I literally binged it this morning. I read for 3.5 hours. Yep, 3.5. I was supposed to go to the gym. Didn't. Just read my book because Charlie's misunderstood. Hear me out. Yes, he's cocky and annoying, but it's because it's a cover-up for the trauma that he experienced in his youth. But you have to read the book if you want to know what that trauma is. I was getting pretty frustrated because yes, Charlie was withholding everything for a while, and he still is because of his past trauma, but it's just making the tension so good. We're 54% through now, and they just had their first makeout sesh, and it was steamy. It was pretty steamy. These two like each other so much, but they're not allowing each other to be in relations. So there's just so much tension. It's like they're young kids, which actually makes perfect sense. So if you read this book, you know, but it is just so freaking cute. It's literally reminding me of whenever you're a young kid and you have a crush on someone, like the giddy, pure excitement that you feel when you see them and when you're around them or when your leg brushes against theirs. Like that's the vibe, and it's at a lake. So it's just so much fun. And we did get the same characters from the last book in this book, which I'm not the biggest fan of actually, because as you guys know, the last book frustrated me so bad.
Bro.
I'm mad. I don't hate Percy and Sam. I just can never forget the trauma that I experienced from that last book. So I'll just never love them like I did at the beginning. But so far, these two haven't pissed me off. I'm of course so terrified for the third act conflict, because if Carley Fortune is able to hook me in like she has and then she breaks my heart again, I don't know how I'm going to recover. I genuinely don't think I'll read another Carley Fortune book if the third act conflict pisses me off. Like genuinely, I don't think I can do it again. The segment I'm about to read you is from Alice's grandma's point of view. When I see you and Charlie together, it reminds me of myself and your grandfather. Because we laugh, I ask quietly. You laugh, Alice. You laugh that big, beautiful laugh of yours, and you're more like yourself when you're together. You're always so busy taking care of everyone and making people happy, but you're different around Charlie. There's a lightness to you that I haven't seen in a long time. Like you have the freedom to just be when you're with him. That's just because I'm on vacation. Nan slants her head. No, it's because when you speak, he listens. When you smile, he smiles. When you need something, he offers help. When you give him something, he thanks you. You're peas and carrots. I think you found yourself a lifelong friend. Like, that's really cute. In the context of the whole book and while you're reading it, when you come across a passage like that, it really like has you welling up and has you on the verge of a tear. So I'm very much enjoying this book, as you can probably tell, and I really, really like Charlie. He's just so confident and he literally thinks he's the main character. And as you guys know, that's my type. That's my type. So yeah, he's a little bit annoying at times, but also like, that's why we love him type shit. I imagine I'll finish this book in a couple days, but I don't want to rush it because I am having such a good time and I'm not ready for it to end, but I will update you guys as always whenever I finish the next chunk of the book. I'll see you guys later. It's officially time for another update about One Golden Summer. I'm 68% through. And let's just address the elephant in the room. I am not liking it as much as I once was. And it's hard for me to pinpoint whether or not this is the specific reason, but it's recently come to my attention that this book is a little bit cringy. It's a little bit cringy. There's a few lines in there that kind of pull me out of the story. Like I'll be reading it and like super engaged, super giddy. And then there'll be a line that I'm like, ew, I don't like it. There were a few that came up before, but I was honestly just trying to ignore them because I really didn't want a few lines to ruin my reading experience, but it's so hard to ignore. It's so hard to ignore. At one point, Alice says, he looks like sex. Nah, it'll never do it for me. I immediately turn as scarlet as a rose on February 14th. It's just a cringy analogy. And at one point, Charlie says to Alice, you're a Pegasus unicorn, Alice Everly. And I know that if you read the book, that last one isn't as cringy as I'm making it out to be. But to me, it took me out and I was just like icked out. Honestly, I was icked. I still really like so many facets of this book. I think Carley Fortune, for one, is an incredible author. So far, she's been able to create super realistic characters. And I think she's doing a great job at making this relationship believable. I do really like that she's including more people than than just the main characters. For instance, not only are we reading about Charlie and Alice, but we're also reading about their siblings, partners, and even Alice's grandma. And I actually really enjoy getting to learn more about their world because it makes the characters that we're reading about feel more real. I also still really like Charlie, and although I'm not obsessed with him like I once was, I still really do like him. I think he's a really great guy. I don't know if it's gonna be a spoiler, but just in case, I do hope that we dive deeper into his fear of commitment, because in my perception, because everybody sees him as this flirty, fun guy that you can't take seriously, he's kind of internalized that, and he's definitely used that persona to avoid serious and uncomfortable conversations and to kind of keep outsiders from coming into his internal world. And I think with Alice, he's finding it's a little bit of a struggle to do that because she's just so welcoming and friendly and receptive enough to his banter that he feels his guard can come down. So I do hope that we explore that a little bit more. If we don't, I will be a little bit sad by that. I don't want us to avoid something that could potentially deepen our understanding of a complex character. I also am unsure if we've gotten to the third act conflict already. There was a little problem, and it was that Charlie was feeling a little bit guilty about the third act conflict that we heard about in the first book, the one that pissed me off. And let's just say she's a stronger woman than me because she reacted so calmly, and she was only pissed off for like 5 seconds max, and then she was back to like making him feel better about himself. So I don't know if that's how I would have taken it. I guess now it doesn't matter as much because so much time has passed, but god damn, did that conflict affect me the first time I read it. This book kind of feels like a romanticized escape to the summer. So I like whenever we're grounded back to reality of like Charlie and Alice talking about their jobs, for instance, because it's bringing us back to a present reality where they might be in each other's lives. If we're constantly fantasizing about this version of them at the summer, it doesn't feel like a romance that's going to truly withstand the test of time. And that, I think, is what makes a romance one that people yearn for. It's one that we feel like soulmates are meeting. Although, hot take, I don't think we need that in romance books. I often do want to hear about just like a situationship that's crazy and messy, but that's besides the point. I do think these people are meant to be like perfect for each other. So we'll see whether or not I think that by the end. I'm still very much invested in the book. I don't want to pick it up nearly as bad as I did at the beginning. For now, I don't think I'm going to be able to read for the rest of the day, but I'll see you guys tomorrow when I've hopefully finished this book. I've officially finished One Golden Summer, and I'm super happy to report back that I actually really enjoyed it. In the last update, I told you guys how it kind of got a little bit icky for me, and that was still true at points. But overall, it was still such a fun time, and I would actually really recommend that you guys read this book if you haven't already. And if you didn't like Every Summer After because of that third act conflict like me, give this book a chance because it doesn't have a third act conflict that's nearly as frustrating as the other one. In the latter half of the book, we really got a lot of those moments that I was talking to you guys about where it feels real. Instead of just focusing on this carefree summer version of Charlie and Alice, we actually saw a lot of their real life and their family members start interacting, and that was super, super sweet to read about. Charlie is genuinely such a good guy. He's so thoughtful and considerate, and his interactions with especially Alice's niece were so freaking cute. I was really enjoying seeing him be fully integrated into her real life, and vice versa whenever she would interact with Percy and Sam, which are Charlie's brother and sister-in-law. I loved all of those moments, and I liked that it made the characters feel so much more real. They felt like well-rounded people that aren't just in love when they're at the lake, but instead can also be in love once they're in their real world. And that especially came true after the third act conflict. And I don't want to spoil anything, but Charlie had a reason for why he was pulling back, and it was reason that I actually guessed. I just obviously didn't reveal it to you guys. And maybe if I didn't guess it, I would have cried, but since I did, it wasn't very surprising to me. I kind of knew where it was going based on the little hints that we got throughout the rest of the book. And this little problem did cause Alice to miscommunicate for a while. Like, she was really holding a lot in when she knew she should be communicating. But I just feel like that's real. Like, I feel like a lot of us like to say that we hate miscommunication. What if a lot of us hate miscommunication because we see in ourselves traits that we don't like? Like, maybe we sometimes miscommunicate how we're feeling, or we don't communicate fully, and that's why we end up hating characters in books that do that very thing. Because I personally don't find miscommunication super horrible, because I just think it's realistic sometimes. Like, sometimes we have feelings towards someone that we're scared to admit because of the fear of rejection, or because we've tried to before and it didn't work out. Like, there's so many deeper reasons for why people miscommunicate, and psychology is so much more complex than just tell them how you feel. So I actually didn't mind that little spout of miscommunication, but if that's something that you really don't like in books, this might bother you a little bit. Carley Fortune is really, really great at banter. Like I said, it did get cringy in some moments, and I think I liked Every Summer After a little bit more because I was closer in age to those characters. These characters are in their 30s, late 30s, so maybe that's why I don't personally relate as much to the things that they speak about and the way that they talk to each other, but I still did find their connection super believable and really, really cute. And like I've said many times before, Charlie is my type. Like if he was younger, I really would have eaten this book up, but because he's older, maybe that's why I started distancing myself a little bit from being super obsessed with him. Okay, my final point is regarding smut. If you guys do not like smutty books, I wouldn't read this. It's not that it's particularly filled with smut, but there are lots of scenes where the tension that's been building all summer is kind of needing a release, if you will. Like they are basically like horny teenagers, so they're not getting home runs every time, but there's some stuff happening. So if you don't like that in your books, do not read this. I didn't mind it. I actually thought it was pretty well done, but based on the last book, I would actually say that this book is a little bit spicier. So again, if that's something that you don't like, I would not pick up this book. I really do think that this was a great book. I just can't decide if it's better than the first one. Obviously, the third act conflict was better. This third act conflict didn't make me want to rip my hair out like the other one did, but regarding the characters' connection and how I felt about the book overall, I might be leaning towards the other book. So should I rate this a 3.5? I don't know. I think for now we're gonna say 4 stars because I'm feeling generous today, and I would absolutely recommend that you pick up this book. Overall, I'm super happy that I decided to give Carley Fortune a second chance, and I'll maybe even give her a third chance. So if you've read any of her books, let me know in the comments which one was your favorite, and maybe that'll be the next book that I pick up. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you next week. Bye!